Have you been accused of being a witch? Well, 19 other people were put to death in Salem, Massachusetts in the notorious witch hunt. There's also a bunch of haunted houses up there and ghosts, and what the hell is a witch's pie? We're going to talk all about that in today's episode.
Salem witch trials. We're here to talk about the background, the history, the lesser known facts, and everything in between. So buckle up, get ready. What you got for me, Rob?
Salem, Massachusetts. It's home of the extremely famous witch trials or witch hunt. And we had 19 people executed and 11 people sent to prison or jail, which eventually died. And also there's a lot of hauntings out there. So there's some very historical buildings out there that have been up since the 1600s. Lots of ghost tours. So if you go to that region, you can partake in ghost adventures, ghost hunting. And there's no shortage of stories of haunted houses. And there are two particular houses that we're going to kind of talk about today that have a deep track record. But before we get into modern times and modern ghosts, let's just set the scene real quick and just give you a little bit of a background on the Salem, Massachusetts witch trials. Do you got a little bit of info there on what happened, a little backstory?
Of course. In a little Puritan village, Salem, Massachusetts, there was two little girls that one day all of a sudden started acting really peculiar and started throwing fits and convulsing and vomiting all over the place. And after being diagnosed by a doctor, the legal term that was used was these little girls were bewitched. Now, within months after the little girls being announced bewitched, there was over 200 accused witches. Most victims were women, but there were one man that actually he died differently from the other women that were hung. He died by being pressed by stones.
Yeah, I did a little research on the pressing of stones because I didn't know what the hell that was.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked into what that is?
No, I don't have any idea what that is.
Oh, bro, it's very interesting. So and I'm not trying to make light of this, but just to paint a picture here, they essentially put you in between two pieces of wood, right? So imagine like a piece of plywood, you're laying on one and another one on top of you.
Okay.
And then you look like a sandwich, right? Your arms are sticking out, your head's sticking out, but from here around your torso is wood.
Yeah.
And then they just keep putting stones on top of it.
Just heavy stones.
Yes. And so the wood just presses down like you're smashing a s'more.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
Imagine
just
what that would feel like.
More and more boulders.
Oh,
but the idea, and so here's the interesting thing. Do you know why he chose? Because you could choose.
Oh, they were giving them the option.
Yes. So
That's
he
kind of
chose
like-
the pressing. And the reason he chose it was there was a loophole because what we're doing, I don't know if you were going to touch on this or not, but in the witch trials, they were also taking the property of the people that were accused. And so the sheriff in town was basically in charge of divvying up the property and giving it out and whatever it was. So there was an incentive for a land grab as well and taking assets by accusing people. But if you elected to be pressed for some reason, your land didn't get put up for auction and it got like passed down to your kids. And also the idea of pressing was that you would entice the person to commit to or admit to their crime. Right. And so it's almost like a torture. And so you're supposed to keep pressing. And then at some point, like, yes, I'm a witch, or yes, I did it. I did whatever the accusation is. And it was supposed to be a way to coerce somebody to admit.
Right. But this man, Giles Corey, just didn't want to admit. And he
also wanted to protect his land, which was like some.
It's a good man. It's a good man.
So, yeah, there's that. So that's quite interesting take there on the punishment. So go on. Where were you going here
Being
next?
crushed by a rock sandwich. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the witch trials is that they were ongoing. The last accused witch was actually pardoned none other than 2001. That's only 24 years ago. And mind you, the witch trials started in 1692. So what is that, like, 300 years or something?
Why you take 300 years to exonerate somebody?
It doesn't make any
Shame
sense.
on you, Massachusetts.
They did publicly apologize, I think, a couple times, maybe 3 times about everything. But now Salem is a housing for witchcraft and dark magic and all that kind of. There's a bunch of people out there that enjoy that kind of, activity.
Yeah, there was one of the witches or accused witches that said there'll like be blood or something of that nature as she was getting burned or died or hung or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sheriff died of like a hemorrhage or something. So
Yeah.
basically she had like cursed the town, particularly the sheriff.
Right.
And his bloodline had a long list of early deaths that it also had a weird coincidence to tie into blood related illnesses, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I mean the curse perhaps is
I also
still
hear
alive in
that
effect.
they don't even the sheriffs of that town, that the new sheriffs that come and get inducted, they don't even want to stay or work inside of that sheriff's building that is said to be cursed, because they say that they see natural phenomena happen all the time, where it's just spooky stuff happening.
So one of the oldest houses there in Salem, Massachusetts is called the Corwin House or the Witch House. And I think the oldest standing building there was from the 1600s.
Yeah.
It has numerous accounts of hauntings and, well, there's a lot of suspicious activities there. So Corwin, first of all, the original owners of the house, the children there had died a very young age. So the children died, and there was supposedly a curse on this whole house.
Okay.
And everyone that lived there, and people were passing away at a younger and younger age.
Do you know how they died? Were they like
They
sick,
had
or?
mysterious diseases, just early deaths. There was accidents, and there's I didn't do enough detail or enough research on the little details or nuances, but just the family itself was cursed.
Okay.
There's that. And then the house itself, if you were to tour the place or you just walk in, and it's just this really old wood, and it's from the 1600s. It has like really low ceilings. Also, you got narrow passageways, and it has this like really funky smell that it just doesn't sit right. Now, maybe it has something to do with the fact that the house is old as
Yeah, the house is
500
rotten
years
and-
old, so,
Yeah.
or 400 years old. And so perhaps it's like the rotting wood, but at the same time, like,
Maybe it's the smells lingering from the past.
yeah. And so there's been reports of disembodied voices coming in, and there's like all these like really cold regions in the house, like certain rooms you walk into where the temperature just drops by like 25 degrees. Like you walk in, instantly like the AC is on. And the funny thing is that some of the visitors will say like, is the AC on? And there's no like AC unit like vents
Right.
in there. It's like an antique house. So there's no central air in there. But a lot of people always ask like, hey, can we not, like cut the AC out? And it's just like, it's not AC. It's demonic or something of that thing. So there's a lot of like very heavy pressure on people's heads when they like walk in, and there's just the obvious people get chills in different rooms. So there's that one. Also, there's an interesting another house. It's called the Seven Gables, and so this house was built in like the 1690s, and this particular house was also part of a novel, or set the scene for a novel. And then that one was by, was it John Turner? And so It's from Nathan. So the house was built by John Turner, but it's Nathan Hawthorne's 1851 novel set the scene as Seven Gables. But interestingly enough, one of the biggest things about this house, other than it being haunted, is that there's a secret staircase. So they found a staircase like behind a fireplace, and it goes up to nothing.
What?
Yeah, it's just literally like stairs. Like you open a door, there's a staircase, and there's nothing at the top.
So what do you mean? Like it's no
exactly
house?
that.
Like,
It's exactly that, bro. It's just like there's no destination for the stairs.
Oh my God.
So there's this report of a boy on the staircase, right? And I think there's like some windows on the second floor or something like that.
Okay.
And that window, they've seen shadowy figures. Looks like a little boy. They've also heard the footsteps going up the stairs, but here's the kicker. It never stops. It just literally, the person just keeps climbing up the stairs just repeatedly.
The stairs that lead
Yeah,
to
it's like a spiral staircase. It's not like it just a straight up. It's like a spiral staircase to nowhere.
So do you think he's just on the top stair just repeating it over and over and over?
I don't know, dude.
Or he's going up and down
But
and
the
up and down?
the accounts are that it sounds like he's just climbing, but he's not ever ending. And so there's that, and then they have
freaky, bro.
I think his name was Attic Boy was the term I've
Clever
seen.
nickname.
Yeah, and then that Attic Boy has also been recorded on EVPs and also the spirit boxes, and multiple different EVPs have got him saying like or giggling, and you'll hear the footsteps as well up in the attic, and so it's I don't know. It's weird.
So what's the story behind this little boy? Was there?
I don't know. There's no. I
I
didn't see any backstory on the little boy. Perhaps it was one of the children, one of the Corwin children that died at a young age.
Okay.
I don't. I haven't put the correlation together. I haven't put the pieces of the puzzle together. But apparently, yeah, some little boy's haunting the place.
That'd be so interesting to find out, because why is he stuck to that house? Like, can he not leave that staircase? You know?
I know, dude. All right, so what else have you got for witches?
Well, actually, a pretty interesting fact about back when they were doing and conducting the witch trials is, in order to, signify if a accused witch was a witch or not, they would make something called a witch cake. Have you ever heard of a witch cake?
I think I picked one up the other day at the bakery over here by the street.
Trust me.
A pumpkin latte and a witch cake.
You do not want this witch cake. Okay.
All right.
So what they would do is they would make this cake out of like rye bread and flour, whatever.
I like rye bread. Okay.
Okay.
Go on.
And then they would put the accused witch and make her pee on the cake. And then they would feed the cake to the dog. So then if the dog got sick, then she was a witch. But if the dog didn't get sick, then she wasn't bewitched.
See, my dog has an iron stomach. That thing could eat a haunted rye bread with pee all over it.
He's not detecting witches for nothing, or
I'm just saying that he would be horrible at detecting witches because everyone would be greenlit over there from my hunted dog.
No witches from hunting.
Yeah. Also, we got our skeleton dog here on the desk as well. So,
Which, if you have a name for, leave them down in the comments.
There you go. Interesting. So, pee on rye bread, huh? Oh man, that's like a sourdough now.
Oh yeah,
rye bread to sourdough.
That's about as sour as it gets.
You got anything else on this one?
Basically, all of Salem witch trials was just a large religious paranoia that kind of just took over a town, and then everyone started believing it because it was all the town would talk about. And in my opinion, I think it was just mass hysteria and delusion, and it just led to an outbreak, to one of the biggest outbreaks, mind you, in human history.
Interestingly enough, though, did you know that a lot of this was just simply spurred from Europe's witch crisis? And so from 1440 to 1775, those Europeans, they killed over 50,000 people. They had accused
50,000?
They accused over 100,000. They killed over 50,000, and a lot of this came off of the back of the smallpox, the breakout, and so after that, they were just attributing smallpox and disease and famine. They were attributing it to witches, and so it was just customary for people to point the finger at the local townspeople, and 50,000 people. And so a lot of that poured over when, the colonies here in the U.S. And Salem, Massachusetts were having some other issues with what was perceived as paranormal activities like weather and famine and disease here in the U.S. They were just starting to point the finger as well there.
Man, if you were accused of being a witch in Europe, you literally had a heads or tails like fate, whether or not you were being executed. You said 100,000 people were
100,000 people were accused,
and 50,000 were executed.
Yes,
that's half of the people that were accused, bro. They were flipping a coin to decide these people's fates.
Yeah, so it's not even accused. There was 100,000 people that were tried, and then were found guilty of being a witch, and then half of them were put to death. And so, how many people were accused is probably even larger. But the ones that were accused and tried and found to be a witch, and so, well, let us know what you think about Salem, Massachusetts, about the witch haunting. Tell us what you think about our show. And so we'd love to hear what you got to think. And until next time, keep the lights on.
Peace.